Bangkok ChitChat Spotlight.
Hello, welcome along to Bangkok ChitChat Spotlight. Thanks for joining us. And today in the studio we have the country manager of Thailand, Vietnam and Middle East of the Manpower Group and vice chairman of the British Chamber of Commerce. Manpower Group, if you didn't know already, they provide staffing services in banking and finance, office service, information technology, engineering and technical areas, etc. Please welcome to Spotlight, Simon Matthews.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good afternoon.
Yeah, do it properly.
Hi, everyone.
A natural. I'll kick off the questions. My one's very, very simple. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, yeah, Simon Matthews already said. Came to Thailand in May 1992, so just coming up for 27 years with an inspection company called SGS. And then saw an advert in the Bangkok Post for General Manager of Manpower. Which
Manpower were already here then?
No, they weren't.
Oh.
So they weren't here. So it was just an advert, so I applied for it. So I don't have my card here, so I'm employee number one.
Ooh.
So that was set Manpower up 20 years ago. Married to a Thai lady for 25 years with 3 kids. So
and a grandchild?
And a grandchild. We don't mention that. Keep the grandchild. yeah. We don't mention that.
Yeah, you don't look at grandfather.
So yes, and then I've been very happy with Manpower, and also 10 years with the British Chamber of Commerce this year, and have been chairman for 4 years. And as I was saying to Andrew, this is my last year because we've got quite a lot of opportunities to grow in the region, so I need to be a bit more focused because it is quite time consuming.
Yeah.
So about the business, how have you found running the business in Thailand?
Well, I think it's been, obviously when we set up, I mean, like anyone else, I think there is a lot of paperwork involved, and they need to go to the various ministries to get all the paper and all the right licenses. So, and also Manpower is 100% owned by the US. Manpower Group is a US-based company,
right, okay.
So we can own 100% foreign ownership under the Protection Treaty of Amnesty. So that was it. And I think, then it was really, Manpower as a service provider. Like any service provider, it's all about finding the right caliber of people. So we spent a lot of time building up our team, and now we're in 10 locations, from Chiang Mai in the north to Hajai in the south. Right. We've got 15,000 contract staff and around about 300 permanent employees.
Right. So is it more being Thailand, you focus more on the Thai, or is it a mix? Or is
predominantly Thai. I mean, probably of the 15,000 contract staff, we have probably 95, 98% are Thai. Right. But we do expatriates, we do find, and we also have an export license, so we are allowed to send Thais overseas as well.
All right. So, because I think Andrew knows quite a bit about the business because you've had to deal with this sort of in your career, and you obviously know what you're talking about. I don't. So my question would be, how does it work? I mean, who do you sell your business to? I mean, who uses your business? Okay,
so if I really take it down to sort of recruitment 101.
Yes, right. Please.
I mean,
please do.
there's 2 areas one is, which is perhaps better known, is what we call permanent recruitment. Permanent recruitment is when a client is looking for someone on a permanent basis, i.e. they will want to hire that person directly. Right. So what we'll do is we'll sign the terms and conditions with those clients, which basically means we will get a percentage of the annual salary of the successful candidate.
Not the whole package.
Well, depends. Sometimes it can be challenging. Sometimes you can get like bonuses and cars and allowance included. Depends how competitive the client is. Right. And with a guarantee period, if that person leaves within a specific period of time, the recruitment company will replace free of charge.
Right.
One thing which is legal in Thailand, but Manpower will never do, we do not charge candidates anything.
Right.
So
Okay,
there's,
yeah.
so there's
Right.
no cost to register online. We have an online web page, so anyone can register, look at the jobs. There is no charge to the candidate for doing
So
that.
I'm a student, 21 years old, just left Chulalongkorn. I've mastered in something or
Yeah,
other,
sure.
blah, blah. I then go to your website
Yeah.
online
Yeah.
and register myself.
You can register yourself. You can look at the jobs we have available.
Yeah.
If there are not any jobs available, you register, because we have a technology. We have a front end system, so we can search. So if you have
filter, yeah.
you know, today we might not have anything for you. Next week a job will come in that match your skills, so we can search online.
And then on the other side of the scales, you've got the people that are employed, the people that you're finding. How do they do that?
Well, so when they've come to us, we will get what we call a qualified job description. What that means is we'll understand what the job title is, what the client's benefits are, and as much information. Then we will screen. So we will interview the candidate first, making sure that they profile, and eventually we will submit around about 3 resumes to the client. Hopefully from those resumes, the client will interview 3 people. And hopefully out of those, this is the ideal, so hopefully out of those 3 interviewed candidates, 1 candidate will start.
Right, okay. And if they don't, you have to go through the process
If we don't,
again.
we have to go through the process again. And we call that contingent. What that means is we only get paid when the candidate starts.
Right.
There is another which is on the high end, is what they call retained. There, when you get the job description or take the work on, they will get 1/3 of the fee. When they shortlist the candidates, they'll get another 1/3, and then when the candidate starts, they'll get the final 1/3.
Does the student online have to pay anything?
No student, no payment. And the other thing, so that's permanent.
Yeah,
The other
yeah.
side is contract. So that's when
Limited time.
That's when we, as in Manpower, will employ the individual.
Right, okay.
So it could be someone want a receptionist for a day. So we'll provide a receptionist for a day. It could be for a project, an IT project. It could be for a call centre. So yeah, but and that's the 15,000 contract staff. They're legally employed by Manpower.
Right, okay.
And the client only pays for as long as that person is with the client.
So how is it? Okay, you've got it for the
Period of
person who's
time.
looking for the job. Yeah, they go online. But how is technology affecting what you do? Because there's more and more coming online. What they're doing is that the companies will put something up and then it's circulated through the internet,
so
and then they do have
and there is
applications.
AI as well. And we use AI in technology, not in Thailand at the moment, but some of our more mature countries. We have AI for shortlisting candidates. You know, I think there is, they're talking about Industrial 4.0. And we talk about it a lot globally.
What's Industrial 4.0?
It's like you have the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
So you've had the Iron Age, the Bronze Age, and
so this is the next thing.
This is the next stage.
Okay,
We
got it.
talked about the
You're in the
human.
Bronze Age,
we,
okay.
we talked about we're all baby boomers here. So we talked about, they talk about just sort of like all these, and this is really getting ready for, and which Thailand talks about a lot in the press. So it's talking about like in Thailand talk about the S curve. It's talk about the new technologies, the impact of AI, the impact of robotics. I mean, a good example, impact to workforce. Is, all right, I'll ask you a question as you ask me many questions.
Okay.
When's the last time you went to a bank? You see, you're having to think.
Yes, that's correct.
In the old days, you would have said, probably
twice a week at least.
Last week.
Yeah,
now you go to an ATM, or you have your app on your phone. So
Correct,
smartphones, you perhaps only want to do if you want a loan and you want some personal banking. Otherwise, you do it through ATMs, apps. So
But
technology
is not. The thing is,
it's
there's
not
a
gonna-
personal part
yeah.
to it.
Not
Yes,
anymore.
No. I think
It's
people.
sad.
It
It's
is
sad.
sad, and we as an organisation are still looking at the personal touch. So,
Right.
I think we could talk. Maybe I have to come back and talk more about.
I don't worry,
industrial
you will.
form- yeah. There's beers later, everyone.
Yes,
So,
yes.
you had
All round yours,
You
is
had
it?
me at beers, yes.
That'll be the pub talk show. Okay, what about the candidates and the recruiters? How should they be behaving?
Well, I mean, we have what we call the candidate experience, so how we handle candidates' intake. Number one, you've got to treat everyone with respect. So as soon as one comes in, even if they're not suitable, we need to at least have a chat with them to say, look, sorry, your qualifications don't meet like that, but have you tried going to this organisation? So we want to do like that.
Right.
Offer them water when they come in. You know, worst thing, I mean, have you ever been to interviews when you're waiting half an hour? You know, if you know, if the recruiter says come in at 2 o'clock and you're there at 2 o'clock, we need to interview the person at 2 o'clock. Treat the risk, because at the end of the day, so we talk about this globally. At the end of the day, we find people jobs that can pay for their families, their food. It's a really important. So
it's also the fact if you treat them well, they have respect for you and they need your service. They use your
another
service,
subject I could talk about is called employee branding. I mean, how do people brand, you know, their organisation? You know, and that's another subject on how companies attract.
So it's a second.
I bore them. So that's one from the candidates. I think
we'll just give them season 2.
I think the candidates is you know, obviously we interview people face to face, or if we can't, at least Skype, so we get to see them. Obviously, you know, with us we're a little bit, but you know, 2 things is answer honestly. Don't fabricate your CV or lie in your interview. You'll be found out. We've had cases of people lying on their educational and their background. You know, if you've been off for 6 months, there's no issue. Don't try to expand that you left it. You know, because at the end of the day we take reference checks, so we will find out. So I think, you know, always tell the truth, be honest. If you don't know, and we help candidates with interviewing techniques and how to prepare a resume, because some people might not have done it for a few years.
Say the person I was going to say groom them. I mean in the nicest possible way.
Exactly.
But it's not a good word these days.
No, it's not a good word these days. Yeah.
No, so you tell them how to behave, how they should react, and all. What happens if they get their job and then they do let themselves down in some way? Are you held responsible for that by your client?
Well, if it's a permanent recruitment, I mean, we can only do so much.
That's right.
You know, I mean, you know, if you just pick someone off the street, you have no success.
Yeah.
If you read their resume, you're getting better. If you interview them, you're getting better. If you do psychometric testing and evaluation, but you can never get to 100%. No.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is the reference checks, because
reference checks are very good.
Many companies don't even check in the references.
No, you should do reference check. And I think the final thing about candidates is also, you know, prepare for the interview, go to websites, understand what the client is. And again, there's so many ways about, if you're really professional, you can do, but how you present yourself, how you sit, you know, don't say, you know,
doing videos
they're videos, and we do video to assess people on video. Because, you know, you don't want to go, hi Andrew, answer like that, sit up straight, don't slouch.
Wear long sleeves if you've got tattoos.
Because I mean, people do,
right?
Sure. Because people interview people differently. But to me, I think the first few minutes is really very important. It sets the tone on the interview.
Now you've scared everybody.
No, we can help.
No, but it's that confidence as well. So you give them the confidence. You say, look, we're backing you. We've told you what to do. If you do what we do, you're going to be successful again. So give them confidence, and they'll walk in, hello, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, so-and-so.
Well, the way I've always taken it when I've interviewed over the years, and even said to my daughter, she's 20, she's gone for an internship. What should I do? When I go for interviews with an internship, I said, be yourself and understand you are interviewing them as much as the other way around.
Especially in Thailand. I mean, you know, whether you believe government figures, and you can always talk about, but you know, unemployment in Thailand, they're talking it around about 1 to 1.2%.
That's probably the people don't want to work anyway.
Well, we can talk about. I think that's a later question. But at the end of the day, it is what we call it now. We call it a candidate market. So yes, you're right. The employee also needs to sell the company to the candidate, because it's very likely that candidate, if they're looking for a job, they're proactive. And if you're proactive, it's very unlikely that they're just going one company. They might be, when they finish an interview with you, tomorrow they could be interviewing another company. So they might have 3, and then they might get 1 or 2 offers at a later
It's
date.
like going down the one ads, isn't it? But you're just using a more professional way to do it.
Sure.
Right, we're going to take a break for just a moment here. And Andrew's got a question he can't wait to ask Simon in a moment. Keep it here on Bangkok Chit Chat.
Bangkok Chit Chat Spotlight.
Welcome back to Bangkok Chit Chat Spotlight, and we're with, of course, Simon Matthews from Manpower. And you were just about to ask a question. I cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. It's okay.
If I never cut you
sometimes
off,
it has to be brought under control.
Otherwise you're here till midnight talking. So
I'll give her on. So one of the things to do with the employers and the recruiters, but what I've experienced is you get appointments. Someone's interested in working for you. And either they don't turn up for the interview, or you employ them and they don't turn up for the job. Yeah, and I just look at the ethics of that. I think there should be a blacklist for people.
well, there's nothing he can do about that.
No, there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm just saying, it's advice. To basically everything else, you educate the people.
Sure.
Don't do that because you could
So
be
you get the
blacklist and
X.
never get a job again.
And that never happens in Thailand, obviously. No,
never.
Of course,
No.
mean, it happens an awful lot. I mean, and it is quite. I
Very
mean,
frustrating,
I mean, and sometimes even worse is, especially for interviews, they don't even bother phoning us up to say
Can't make it.
I can't make it. I mean, in the UK, I've had people, their grandmothers died 6 times. Because why can't you make it? Oh, my grandmother's died. Right, then
I mean, they
next
could
month-
have a good reason that
Well,
they've accepted the job somewhere else.
You think it's an epidemic of grandmothers?
Exactly. So I think, yes, of course, circumstances change, you
Yes.
know, and we understand that. So I think first thing, out of respect, if you can't make an interview, whether it's through a recruitment company like Manpower or direct, at least have the honesty to phone up the company and say you can't make it, and then say you can't make it because something's happened,
Or you got another job,
or you can't make it because that's it. You're not interested anymore.
But do you put a cross beside them?
No, well, we don't. We don't really. I mean, we make it on our database. We make a note.
Yeah.
So if you come back again, we say, look, when we sent you for this job or we offered you this job, you turned it down. And we understand. I mean, for turning jobs down, as I was speaking to Andrew earlier, normally it's 2 things. One is what we call a counter offer. So the candidate gets the job offer, and some candidates do it anyway. They want to blackmail, I suppose.
Okay,
the blackmail word, as you mentioned earlier, is so they will go and get a job. They don't really want to leave their current company, but they'll go with their resignation letter and hope that the company will counter offer.
Footballers are doing that all the time with their
I
contract.
always laugh. 1 minute they're kissing the logo on the shirt. Next month they've been transferred.
They go, oh, Man United are after me. They want to stay at Real Madrid. They have their contract's coming out and they want more money.
We understand that, and we train our consultants how to manage, because we've done survey. Even though the company counter offers, the people don't stay there much longer.
Right.
Because what they've been promised either doesn't happen. If it's a salary increase, next year you don't get one, so they'll line it. So we actually do some, we've got some statistical evidence that we tell the people that, okay, yes, your company wants you to stay. And I think the other one, as I mentioned earlier, they have 2-3 jobs, and maybe your offer's come in first and they'd accept it, but the job they really wanted comes in later.
Yeah.
So we understand it again. Let the people know that you've got, and I think the other thing, clients, the candidate will say they want 100,000 baht a month, and the client will offer 80,000, and then they accept it. That's very risky, because you're not, they have to meet their expectations of the candidate. So, if it's not what you want, and we get warning signs, if someone previous month was on this, and then they're taking a big pay cut to join this, we also need to know, is it just a short term, and then when the industry comes back, that they will leave. But we don't actually physically blacklist, but we will make a note.
So, do you find an issue with companies taking on your services, and then they go and find someone direct?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
again,
loyalty is two-way street, isn't
I mean,
it?
that's the advantage of retained, because when it's retained, the client's got some skin in the game.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
When it's only paid when the person starts, and this is permanent recruitment, obviously under contracting, when they start, we pay their salary and charge the client's salary plus margin.
What happens if the 3 people you put in and another guy comes along from somewhere else?
Yeah, well,
Hang
that's
on, you pay their wage. Sorry, could
no,
you
that's
just...
for contracting.
Okay.
So for the 15,000 contractors staff we have, we pay their salary. For permanent recruitment from day one, the client pays their salary and benefits.
Okay.
But absolutely, so that's when we qualify the order.
Right. Okay.
You know, so we said A, B's and C's. So A might be exclusive, but the client can't wait forever for us. You know, they need to fill the position. So we need to understand
categories of agreements. Yeah.
Well, yes, but I mean, it's not written in a contract, but we need to understand that, yeah, this client buys from us a lot, we have a good engagement relationship, they trust us, so building trust with the client. And then there's some that will go to 10 agencies, they'll put it on job DBs and web page, and they'll post it internally.
Right.
So our success rate drops down, because at the end of the day, our consultants are paid on commission.
Yeah.
So they don't want to spend a lot of time interviewing, doing all that, everything, not to get money at the end of it.
Simon, what is the most, maybe there isn't an answer to this, but what's the most common job sort of thing that you fulfill your clients are offering?
Well,
is there a sort of a big chunk of the same thing?
I mean, there's lots of areas. I mean, if you look, IT is in high demand.
Okay.
Sales is in high demand. I mean, the various levels. If you look at more of the senior middle management, HR is still sales, procurement, and finance. And then if you look at perhaps call centres, sales executives, high in demand, promoters.
Anything in entertainment?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really. I mean, if you look at the industries, you know, we do a lot in manufacturing, we do a lot in banking and finance. I mentioned IT, fast consumer goods, retail. We do a bit.
Yeah.
Logistics is a big industry in Thailand at the moment. Thailand's trying to be a logistic hub for the region. I think, you know, and I think one thing globally, one of the hardest jobs to find is what you call vocational. You know, the bricklayers and the pipe people,
radio DJs,
that really in high demand, and money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, God knows what it costs in the UK if you want to call a plumber out. You know, probably 200 quid before you've even
wait
got
2 weeks
before he's got his tools out. So
you get the guy
and I think that really, and I think you talked about it earlier. So maybe I'll sort of answer one of the questions you talked about. You know, and this is understandable, but families want their children, you know, to get a degree.
Yeah.
And then they want the degree at the right university.
Family honour.
Oh, that's yes.
And that's another whole subject. And then they want them to be engineers, lawyers, doctors. You know,
something that is not risky. So like my mum said, go into banking. You know what I mean?
But what I'm saying is, you know, we try to the vocationary. Is very important.
Very important.
Very important. And you know, and if you look about, you know, what drives economies, you know, that is what really drives economies. The manufacturing and the servicing.
Well, you see,
the backbone of the nation.
Exactly.
And most of the people the guys are using, and they have to get work permits for. They're using the as you were saying earlier, the immigrant workers are from Myanmar, then
yes,
Cambodia,
of course.
then Laos.
Thais don't want to work in food processing. I mean, if you
restaurants is difficult.
Restaurants is difficult
all the time.
You know, our maid, when we got her a work permit, there you go, immigration. She has a work permit, or the Burmese equivalent. But domestic. I mean, when I walk past construction sites, you know, there's not Thai spoken on the labourers. Yeah, it's all Burmese. So
basically, just now is well, as you said, it's the candidate's world at the moment.
It is the candidate. So when you can work in a
but then everyone said that they complain. Even in the UK, we've got that same issue where they say, "Oh, we have all these people coming in taking these jobs, but you guys didn't want these jobs in the first place.
No, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, they want to work in the what we call the blue collar. They want to work in air-conditioned factories, good benefits, canteen, transportation. If you go to the industrial parks at 5:30, it's bus after bus after bus moving the operators out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got. If you look at the let's say now the expat, or I'm sure in Thailand as well, having their retirement, looking forward to their retirement, they're thinking, well, I've got to work till I'm 70 years old. So is it, is all these managing directors that went through a divorce and lost everything, are they all working in the equivalent of a Thai Sainsbury's?
Yeah, well,
7-Eleven.
What's the advice to older people? Because
I mean,
the reality is they're not, I mean, we're roughly the same age.
You're so kind on that.
Leave me out of this.
Answers on a postcard.
You're scrolling about my height in a minute.
That let's say 40, 45 peak. That's why we have to run our own companies. Nobody else will employ us.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, actually, I wouldn't have said that, but it's true.
Yeah.
It is true.
So what opportunity is it?
It's very. I mean, it's very. You're quite right, Andrew. I mean, this is people need. I mean, it's sad. I mean, the official retirement age in Thailand is 60.
Yeah.
I mean, no one really.
He's 55 in government, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
I think they have a choice.
Yeah.
I think it's that thing.
Well, I did pass the big 6-0, so I've been. They've extended.
I correct myself. I'm a lot older than you.
It's all the Photoshop. It's the Botox that worked really well. Right, okay. But no, seriously, it is you can't afford. I mean, especially when I first come to Thailand, it was my wife Thais wanting to send money back to the family, and the reason is because in Thailand, there's not a very good social support. You don't really get a pension. And now in the UK, the pensions
I think it's 500 baht a month or something
like
like
that. Something like that. So I've paid Social Security for 27 years in Thailand.
You get medical.
Yes, you get medical. So you do get it, but yes, I think it is. So to get an expat work in Thailand, yes, you need a work permit, and then obviously to get work permits, there needs to be so many Thais per expat. There needs to be so much paid up capital. There needs to be a minimum wage depending on where you come from. So it's not challenging. We're talking earlier, and except for the large multinationals. Gone are the days when it was schooling, which is, international schoolings in Thailand are not cheap. So you used to get schooling, accommodation, flights, package. The whole expat. Most are now local HARs. And also I've seen Thai salaries. I mean, before, perhaps 25 years ago, for the same position, an expat salary and a Thai salary would be quite big.
Yes.
Now I would say no, and so there's been a bit of expat perhaps have come down a bit, but the Thais have gone up.
Yes.
I mean, if you look, average salary increases for the last, as I remember, have been 6%. So you look, within 10 years, it's like double the salary.
Yeah, and that's higher than inflation.
It is higher than inflation. Absolutely, inflation's running around about 2%.
Yeah, before when I was working at a larger company, on average it was 5%.
Yes.
And then the
But then again, there's not many bonuses have been floating around these last few years. I mean, my wife works for Thai. She always used to get a bonus.
Yes.
Last 5 years.
And also the big thing that changed, I mean, now companies are trying to have a bigger percentage on variable. So you have your fixed salary and then what you pay for performance. I mean, not many companies have what you call the 13-month, the guaranteed 13 months. That seems so a lot more.
But there was a legal requirement. If you continuously gave somebody a bonus, for let's say for a number of years,
sure,
it became part of your employment contract.
Sure, of course. If you, you
I don't
can't.
know how the banks got away with that. You used to give 6 months.
Well, we talked about this on the show before.
If it's a variable related to performance, have flexibility. But if it's a guaranteed bonus, you can't get away from it.
But then if it's guaranteed bonus, I don't say it's a bonus. It's an added incentive.
No, it is.
But isn't a bonus like, you've done so well
No, that's
this
what
year,
we talk about at Manpower. Bonus is based on performance. How the company's done well and has the individual done well.
So from the expat point of view, getting a job here, basically it's extremely difficult.
It's not, I mean, if you want advice to expats out there how to get a job, I think the biggest one is network.
Yeah.
I mean, registering with us, okay, you can register with us at Manpower. and other recruitment companies and other, we talked about JobsDB and Jobs Tops and all the other. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's not so many jobs in newspapers now. Most of it goes online. So, of course, get it out. Get out as much as possible. But I think, get out to network. I think a lot of people I speak to have got a job because they've been in a networking environment. And they're talking to you.
Do you find this, okay, let's go off track just a bit.
It's your show.
Well, networking, all right, I've got this thing about networking. How useful is I've been to a few, and it's just a giant piss up.
Yeah, I think.
That's because you drank too much.
Yeah, okay. If you look at the ties, especially perhaps in the hospitality industry like hotels, ties will just want to give you your card.
Yeah.
So they can go back and speak to their manager. I was at the networking and I got 30 business cards.
Correct. It's added to the database.
So fine. Yeah, you're right. People like a few drinks at all the networking, whatever ones, whether it's chambers or other networking or what. And of course, it is a social. Often it's a social event
in a social atmosphere.
But some are networking more formal, like luncheon networks.
And the breakfast one, that looks.
But I think the thing is what my recommendation is: don't grab Andrew and spend half an hour trying to talk to him. Say, get his card. If you feel
he'll never shut up.
Wrong choice.
Get a feel if it's something that you might, and then just follow up with an email, dear Andrew. And I don't get this often. I do get some that will follow up with an email, but get a follow up email, dear Andrew. I met you at the event last week.
Okay.
That you mentioned like that. I just thought I'd attach my resume.
So it's almost like speed networking, isn't it?
Yeah, we do speed networking. Yeah, we do speed networking because the other problem with networking, it's another subject we could talk about, but there's people probably better than me. You go to and you can look, I know Andrew, so I'll talk to him. So you'll get people in their little areas, clicks that will only talk to, which is, if you know someone, there is no added value for you to talk to. So again, try to find people that you don't know.
Okay, thanks a lot. Well answered.
No problem.
Well answered.
You know somebody and they're with somebody else and they'll introduce.
Yeah, sure, exactly.
Because
referrals.
even I find it hard, and I can talk the hind legs off a donkey.
Andrew's going to go half an hour now on networking now.
The only thing when I'm with Andrew at networking, I have to translate into English.
The most awful Scottish accent.
Absolutely.
Awful Scottish accent.
Having worked with him, my accent's going a little bit sort of north.
Be proud of it.
I like Scottish people, I have to say.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I like everybody. Any more questions? We've sort of run out of time, but
we were talking about the expat opportunities. We've discussed that and general employment market in the world. My question is that for the world, because the technology is becoming such a predominant part of business, at what point are people going to be asking for 5-day weeks but the same money? Not 5-day weeks, 5-day hours. Because there's not going to be enough work for everybody.
Well, I mean, as I said, we talked about the Industrial 4.0. We're talking about robotics, AI. Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I will leave the viewers is we talk about it at Manpower, learnability. Before you get a job and you can job for life. And within 20 years, 50% of the jobs that are available now will not be in 20 years' time. Yeah. So people need to keep on learning new skills. And if we're not careful, we're going to have the haves and the have-nots. The people that don't want to learn, and then you could be overtaken. So I think learnability, learning new skills, keeping up to date is very, very important.
Have your own business.
Yeah, well, of course. I think
you still have to keep up to date.
Entrepreneurial.
Yeah, but it's more fun.
I mean, entrepreneurial. I mean, the entrepreneurs now. I mean, and there is going to be another Facebook. There is going to be another. Alibaba, all these people. Yeah. So that's going to. So I think the entrepreneurial spirit is going to.
And I think entrepreneurs seem to be. Loads of them in Asia. There's more those in Europe.
It's easier now because I think where we had to go and meet somebody, a lot of people will do things online.
Yeah,
so
sure.
They're buying flowers, clothes, everything online. So there's no face to face. They just sit at home, which I think is really sad. But that's an old-fashioned.
No, but you talk to anybody, any middle-class family, guarantee one in the family's got their own business. They may have a job, but they'll have a business on the side.
Funny enough, that's when people leave. Us, we do what we call the exit interview, which is
so important.
Well, it's important, but you don't always get the truth. We get further education, which is a common one. Personal problems.
Yes.
Or
Can't talk about it.
can't
personal.
talk about that. Or family business, and then next
Yes.
month they're at the competitor. So again, Thais don't like, especially
Well,
Thais.
something else to do.
They're a lovely race. They're lovely people. They don't like confrontation.
No.
That's right.
They really don't like
Well, some do,
confrontation.
but,
And in the old days when I came, there were, I think they still have it, for expats as well, hired these cultural companies to help.
Like consultants,
foreigners.
cultural consultants.
Cultural consultants that help
Yeah.
foreigners deal in, like, don't put your feet on the desk, don't pat people on the head,
Who
don't
does
shout.
that anyway?
Well,
There's a few.
I've had some bosses that have done it to
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I
in the
know.
past.
My old
So,
boss for
yeah.
Polygram, he put his feet right up on the table, and I couldn't say anything.
That's
He's my
just
boss.
slovenly. That's just rude. Yeah.
Well, I don't like
But
it
I'm going
anyway.
to say the very last thing.
I'll
and then
allow you
Bill
one
will
more
get-
question, Andrew.
You do your exit interviews, yeah, and you see a value in doing that. Do you take the staff out for lunch to say goodbye?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
I've always.
Well, it depends. Look,
I know people that do. I don't understand why. They're leaving. Why take them out for
Well,
lunch?
I think the Thais, again, perhaps not me, but the Thais are very sociable, so
Yes.
they like to. And of course, some organisations' policy, which not with us, and I don't recommend it, is if you've left the company, they're not allowed to come back, which I think is very stupid. If someone leaves on good terms,
On good terms.
to gain more experience, and then a role, because sometimes the company
I think
fails.
Google has that policy.
Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes it's the company, the employer that fails, haven't met your career objectives. For whatever reason, we can't promote you because there's not a job available. We have quite a few people come back at Manpower, have gone, gained further experience, and then come, but leave correctly.
That's
If you
good.
join
Yeah,
the
no, I'm
competitor,
for that.
don't slag or complain about the.
Don't steal the database.
Don't steal the database. Treat people respect. Gain more experience, and then come back. So. But yes. So yeah. I mean, it's a social thing, and fun. Sometimes, funny enough, we've had staff that have worked for us that have gone to what we call left for corporate. So they've left us to join corporate HR. Then they become our clients.
True
Yes,
that.
that's right.
Or
Yeah,
they-
yeah.
Comes back, treat everybody with
Treat-
respect.
respect.
Karma. What comes around comes around.
I saw Karma, someone faced on Karma was, they were going, the guy was waiting to park his car. The guy was like, get in, and pulled in front of him and swore at him and like that.
Oh, took his car space.
Yeah, took his car
yeah.
space, and then actually said, he was the guy I was interviewing at a later date.
Ah, beautiful. Good way.
That's my final thing as well,
Yeah.
which is people don't realise for candidates. Be careful of your social media.
Right. Yes.
There is technology out there that we can pull from social media, from your Twitter, your Facebook, all these things, and there are companies that give you a social profile.
That's interesting.
How many times you swore online.
Wow.
All that's available from technology. So technology is very interesting.
I'm glad I'm not young looking for a job
but,
anymore.
So
You have been warned.
no, it's very true.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
we don't use the technology at Manpower, but there are a lot of companies use this technology.
But I think that's fair enough. If you're
because,
employing somebody
again,
honestly.
it gives you the type.
Well, that's a
the
subject
type
for
of
another
person,
day.
The type of person
Social
that
media.
is.
I
Yeah.
know.
Right,
I want to
okay.
do one on social media. I mean, that's never ending, isn't it, really?
Sure.
You just go. Anyway, Simon, it's
Thank
been a
you very
pleasure,
much.
really.
Pleasure.
I've thoroughly
Thank you
enjoyed
very
it.
much. Thank you, Andrew.
I didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did.
Well,
so
yeah,
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah, all right. Thank you.
All right, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back next week with something or other. I can't remember what is next week.
We have a spotlight. Yeah,
Oh, we have a
with
spotlight.
Darren. Yeah.
Next week, yeah, but not after this show's aired.
Yeah, that's the problem. You don't know when it comes out. You have to
we
be
haven't
very
got a date for you at the moment, to be honest. So never mind. Next
one.
week,
We
yeah.
have actually.
Oh, really? Next week is something.
moment.
Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, to subscribe, and of course on Facebook, like and share, and
Which
that
I
will
have
just
done.
help us to get out there, which Simon's already done. So, hope you enjoyed it.
Follow the
See you
example.
soon. Bye from all of us at Bangkok Chit Chat.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, everyone.